Here's Brody Brazil.
Let's revisit this month of January so far. You had the Pittsburgh Penguins. Total one-sided game. Yes, the Sharks did score 4 unanswered at one point, or 4 in a row, I should say, at one point. Then Pittsburgh answered with the final 2. So 8-5, that was the Penguins game. In this game, the Sharks gave up 2 shorthanded goals to the Red Wings. Again, the Detroit Red Wings, supposed to win that one, didn't. How about in this game? The Sharks did win in regulation against Buffalo, but they scored the first 3 in that game within a 5-minute span, right? Within the first 5 minutes or early first period in a 5-minute span, they scored their 3 goals. Buffalo scored in the second period. Buffalo scored in the third period. They made it way too interesting. And again, those are the Buffalo Sabres. Then the Sharks beat the Flyers, but it was in overtime, 3-2. I think the effort was there in that game. If I recall, it was the Tomas Hertl hat trick, right? The natural hat trick for Tomas Hertl. And in that game, right, was it JVR scored 2 goals in the third period? No score, right, through 40. Flyers come out, score 2. They weren't necessarily the better team, but then San Jose responds. So put that one all on the shoulders of Tomas Hertl. Then another 3-2 overtime win against the Wings. They come home. They get shut out by the Rangers. They lose 2-1 to the Penguins. That game was in overtime. And then this one was all Timo Meier, 5 goals out of the Sharks 6, and they win by 4. And then a 3-2 loss to Seattle on the road last game. And then tonight, it's not reflected here, but 7-1 is the final score. So literally from this stretch of, I don't know if I can do this here, this stretch of January games, if I can just highlight that for a second. I mean, put the wins and losses aside. That's not what we're here to talk about, but inspiring performances. This one was all Timo. This win was, all Tomas Hertl against Philly. The Sabres one was you let a cushion slide. I'm just here to say that this month of January, 2-5-2 record-wise, it's a bit concerning where the team has been. And now it's even more concerning about these next 4 games. Because if you thought Tampa was tough tonight, you get them in another week's time, but you also get Florida, the Caps, and the Hurricanes as well. And the Sharks do not want to have their 12 days off with a devastating stretch in their rearview mirror, right? You need to finish with some level of respect and some kind of inspiration before you go into that break. You don't want to take your time off and resent where the season went. Way too much time to think about it. And I've said all along this year, the Sharks have bent, but they have not unraveled. I'm truly on edge that this next little sequence here of just 4 games could be an unraveling sequence. Now, with that said, we already inherently know that after 12 days off, you mentally refresh. If you were rolling, you had to hit the brakes. If you were struggling, you got to hit the brakes, right? So there is a reset that's built in. But I'm just here to say that if you go into a break like that, you sit on it, I'm worried about how they recover from that and how they move on from that. This is definitely, this is a pivotal part of the season. I know we're just past the halfway point. Tonight was game 42, but this is of significant concern right now and for the big picture and for the long term of hopefully making the playoffs.